Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Hi. Welcome to another Vlogmas. I literally just got dolled up because I am shooting some content right now. But I wanted to make an intro before I forget and before this lipstick gets ruined, because I don't think I'm gonna keep this on after I eat. So I'm gonna shoot, eat, and then we're gonna sit down and film together. I decided, since I don't have much going on today, and I haven't gone out and don't need to go out, we can sit down and talk about pregnancy stuff, because I'm getting a ton of questions in my DMs. So that's what today's video is gonna be. And again, you can always like ask me questions and stuff throughout my pregnancy journey. Obviously, I'm gonna be super open about it as much as I can and talk about it as much as I can, so feel free to ask me questions as long as they're not like invasive and personal. But as far as like pregnancy stuff, feel free to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna film something in front of my tree. That's why I'm ready, dolled, have the dress on. The bump is showing a little bit. Not like super bloated today, but showing. Also, we don't know what the gender is yet. We're gonna have a gender reveal next weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend, and it's gonna be during Vlogmas. So Avi, I'm gonna vlog the reveal. It's gonna be something super small. We're literally just doing like a brunch at my mom's house, and I think she got the cake of what the gender is gonna be. So super small, but we did want to find out with like our closest family and a few friends. So super excited about that. That's my food. But I am going to shoot this really quick and get back into comfies because I'm also wearing heels. And we'll talk soon. My whole house is like a mess right now. It seems like nothing ever stays clean, but I got back into comfies. I just finished filming and I literally made lunch almost an hour ago. It's now 2 p.m. and I actually like hate doing this. Like, I can touch my air fryer because it's not even hot anymore. Anyway, I'm eating random-ish. I love these chicken egg rolls from Trader Joe's. They're just the best. And fries. I usually eat these with rice, but that was gonna take way too long and I couldn't check up on it. And that's why I love the air fryer, because it's not like an oven where like I would still have to keep checking in on the oven. I can just let it go. I honestly ate this yesterday when I went over to my mom's. But anyway, I'm gonna eat and then we'll talk. I put different lipstick on because it looked like I had 0 lips after the red came off and I ate. Let's talk pregnancy. Obviously, if you watched day 1 of Vlogmas, I filmed that like the first week of November, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together that you guys would already know by Vlogmas. So I could have totally like said something about it, but I just didn't. And also, actually, during that time, I was like really sick. I want to say that day was one of my good days, but my good days back then did not look like this. Now I have a lot more energy. I have energy to do my makeup and shoot content and like breathe a little bit better. Like right now I'm a little out of breath. I think just because I was eating and like running around doing stuff. I'm finally like sitting down and like taking a moment. But that day I just wasn't, and you can hear my heavy breathing. Usually I'm not one to point that out or like hear it in myself, and sometimes you guys always like point it out in me and I'm like, I literally can't hear it. But that one I could, so that's why I wrote on the screen and was like, don't point out my heavy breathing, I know, but also I'm pregnant. So which is weird also to say now publicly and like aloud. I'm pregnant, we're pregnant. Honestly, I've talked about it so many times. You guys have seen my little prima Avery practically grow up on here on YouTube, and she loves it, and I honestly see us forever doing it together. Also Piper's right here next to me being a little brat, so hey, if you just hear her on and off, just ignore her. But yeah, you guys have seen her, and ever since like having her on my channel, ever since she was a literal baby, I've talked about how I just can't wait to start a family one day, and a lot of you guys that have been here since day one have known that. And when I announced, you guys were just the sweetest human beings that I could like literally ever ask for. I always thank God for the followers that I have, because I just feel like y'all are actually the most genuine followers that I've like witnessed. You know, I've seen so many hateful and awful, cruel people in other influencers' comments, or you know, they'll post on their private stories and like share the nasty DMs and stuff that they're getting from people who are supposedly followers, and it hurts. And I know I've gotten them from time to time, and I know I forever will. It's inevitable being an influencer, honestly. But I love that I've been a positive influencer. That's all that I've ever wanted to do. I don't think I would have ever made it this far if I was not doing something good in the world and right. Moving into the actual pregnancy portion before this becomes like a 30-minute video. I don't want it to be super long. I'm sure this is something that people are gonna think is kind of invasive, which it kind of is, so that's why I just want to say it before people start asking. Was it or was it not planned? It was 100% planned. Randall and I actually talked about getting pregnant in the beginning of the year, of the new year, because we wanted to have a fall baby. He's a fall baby. I was like, I want a fall baby. So we decided, okay, let's start trying the beginning of the year. Cool, we'll do that. And then I just kind of kept insisting, but not like repetitively. I was just, you know, whenever this subject would come up, I'm just like, okay, come on, let's make a baby. And so one day he just went with it, and I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, why not? We're gonna try in the beginning of the year, so why not just try? If we're gonna end up doing it, let's do it. So fell in love with him all over again right then and there, and we actually didn't think that we were gonna get pregnant first try. Miss Piper. We didn't think we were gonna get pregnant first try. Once my period was approaching, I usually am a couple of days late because I go according to my period tracker app, so it's not very accurate. My period, ever since I can remember, has never been a steady cycle. There were sometimes, because I was an athlete for so long, that I would even skip a month or two at a time. Always inaccurate, could never tell when it was coming, but I always knew it was gonna be towards the beginning or end of every month. So like the end into the beginning of the month, or just beginning of the month. So as the end of the month was approaching, I was like, okay, nothing's happening, I don't feel any different, so I'm pretty sure that I am gonna start my period. Because Randall just kept asking, like, do you feel anything? Do you think you're pregnant? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, honestly, I don't feel just any different. And I'm talking about this because one of the biggest questions that I was getting in my DMs was, how did you know you were pregnant? So I didn't at first. I really didn't. Then the day that my projected start date was supposed to happen for my period, I waited for that date specifically, and nothing nothing happened. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take a test because I don't feel any different. I'm having cramps, but the cramps felt different. That was the only thing that felt unusual, because my cramps leading up to my period are tolerable, but I know my first day of my period is like the worst. Like I'm literally dying and I can't do anything the first day of my period because my cramps are just terrible. And then also my breasts get pretty tender leading up to my period also. And then once I'm on my period, after my first day, everything's pretty much fine. So I was like, let's just give it a day or two before we jump to any conclusions, because these cramps do feel different. Like I said, my cramps leading up to my period were usually tolerable. It's just my first day that I know is really bad. But these cramps were not as repetitive, and they were sharp, like sharp pains. So that's what made me know it was different. Like it literally felt like I was going to start my period, but just like my first day, bad cramps. But like, I want to say they lasted for like a week. So that's why I kept thinking, oh, I'm gonna start my period, I'm getting the cramps, you know. It didn't happen this time around. And then I went to go see my hairstylist and I did my hair, and she was like, so, because I told her, you know, we were trying. I had seen her so often when we were like transforming my hair, that she asked me if I thought I was pregnant, and I was like, I don't know, I'm getting these really bad cramps. And that's when she told me that with her firstborn, she thought the same exact thing, that she was gonna be starting her period, and then she got these really bad cramps, and that she kept thinking that she was pregnant. And it was like, yes, these are the cramps that I'm having. So I think it was the next day. At this point, I think I'm 2 or 3 days late from my period, and we were in bed. It was like 9:30, probably 10 o'clock at night, and I looked over at Randall and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, the mail is here. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm having really bad anxiety because I feel like I could be pregnant. The thing is that it's just these cramps and the fact that I'm now a few days late, and usually by now I will have a pretty solid sign that I'm starting my period, or I would have started my period already. And so he was like, what's open right now? Let's go get a test. And I was like, okay, no, because then I really won't be able to sleep. I was like, the anxiety was just eating at me because I wanted to share this with you. Like, I don't want to just keep it to myself. So now I can sleep, and then tomorrow we'll do a test. That's basically all it was. I definitely was not going to be able to sleep that night if I just kept it to myself. So I was glad I told him, because then I got rest. I don't think he did. I think that's why he wanted to go just like get a test right away, right then and there when I told him. But then the next day in the morning, we just kind of kept our original routine, even though we were basically anticipating finding out if we were pregnant that day. So we had a pretty long day. We had to run a few errands because literally the next day we were leaving to Arizona to go see his family. So another huge plus as to why I'm glad we ended up finding out as soon as we did, because I originally was gonna wait until that whole trip was done, and I basically already knew that I was pregnant because my period was not starting and it was not gonna show up anytime soon. So we went over to my mom's house, I think that morning, to do something. Of course, we're not telling anyone our little theories. The only person that knew and I was talking to was Brittany, because I've seen her so often, and she's basically a friend and not family, and wouldn't tell my parents or his parents, you know, so someone we could trust. And we went to my parents' house. I don't remember for what, but I remember we stopped by there, And then after that, we went to Target. We went all around the store. And if you know Target, it's basically home stuff, electronic stuff, groceries, and then like all the pharmacy stuff. So mind you, we had just moved in, so we were still getting a lot of home stuff. We needed to go through the whole store. We got some groceries, we got some snacks. Then we were getting into the pharmacy stuff. We were getting toiletries, household stuff, and the very last stop was the pregnancy test. So we picked up the pregnancy test, and I got the one where it's the clear blue instant and the digital test. I think it comes with 2 each. And I'm so bummed. I'm so bummed that the digital tests were actually faulty. Both of them ended up being faulty, but the instant ones, let me tell ya, they worked great. So right after Target, we literally get in the car and we're coming home, and Randall's like, do you need a pee? And I was like, yes, I need a pee really bad. And he was like, okay, perfect. So we get home and he's like, okay, go. And I was like, okay. So he was putting away like all this stuff, and I'm in the bathroom. At this point, I wasn't freaking out because we wanted this. We were trying for this. I think if it would have been an accident and we weren't like obviously actively trying to have a baby on purpose, then I would have been freaking out a little bit. And I didn't cry because I think I was so excited at the fact that I already knew I was pregnant. Internally, I just knew. And I think Randall did too. So the digital ones failed completely, which I was so bummed because I wanted it to say pregnant or not pregnant. But I did both of the rapid tests, and right away, I didn't need to wait whatsoever. Always a plan. So yeah, the rapid test did not even need to wait like a full 60 seconds. Those lines popped up real quick, and I meant to film Randall's reaction, and I was so focused on, he was literally sitting right here, and I was so focused on giving him the test that I didn't realize I was cutting his face off completely. But his reaction was just smiling, and he asked me what there's like another part to like the pregnancy test that like has another line, and he just asked me what that was, and I was like, I don't know, but I'm pregnant. And then once the cameras were off and we were literally getting ready to leave again, I think I was like walking to go put on my shoes, and he just grabbed me and picked me up, and we just hugged really tightly and almost started crying, but more just like excited and happy at the fact that we tried and we succeeded the first time around. And I literally thank God every day, because then reality sank in after we came back from our trip, and I was like, okay, now I really just need to take care of myself and be aware of what I'm putting in my body and on my body, because miscarriage is like such a real and scary thing. And I know so many women in my life that have had so many miscarriages, like more than just one. So take it easy, and again, I'm so grateful to you guys and my Lord and Savior that I work from home. So I rested, and then immediately during our trip and after our trip, I knew like my body started changing. Like I was tired all the time. I'm not a nap person, and I now take naps during the day, and I'm still exhausted at night. And I wasn't really hungry anymore. Like I lost my appetite. The morning sickness wasn't a thing until almost my second trimester. I was 11 weeks on the day, and morning sickness hit, and then the nausea hit. And I could deal with nausea all day long. It was the morning sickness that bugs me still to this day, because I still get it, just not as often. And I'm currently almost 18 weeks. I'll be 18 weeks on Saturday. So that's basically been my pregnancy. I was super tired in the beginning. Like I found out at 5 weeks that I was pregnant. So if you find out, I want to say past the 5 weeks or your 5-week mark, once, like, the early symptoms are basically the fact that you're tired all the time, those weird sharp pain cramps, and loss of appetite was for me. Everyone is different, but the fact that my friend Brittany said those cramps were a huge sign, that's definitely a huge sign. And the fatigueness. Once we told our parents, my mom remembers being tired with me or my brother, one of us, all the time. She said she would fall asleep at her desk at work all the time. So I obviously probably genetically get that from her, because I'm telling you, like, it hit me like a bus. Like, once I was tired, I needed to sleep right then and there. So pretty much all of our trip in Arizona, when I could take a nap, I was taking a nap. When I could eat, I was eating. And then it kind of slowly started dying down, and then that's when my morning sickness hit. And man, that took a toll on me, because I could not leave bed, I could not leave this couch. Luckily my appetite was intact, so I was eating and I was craving things, and I was able to keep it pretty much all down for the most part. But what sucked mostly is that it would hit me at night, and I hated that. So it led me to really stop liking the evening times. Like, I felt like I couldn't rest because I knew I was gonna be sick, and it was pretty much every day. So that's why it sucked. Like, it pretty much hit me the week after Randall's birthday, which I was so glad, because I had bought us Disneyland tickets like well in advance, and I'm glad we were still able to do that. And then for his actual birthday, I think we just kind of hung out and did whatever he wanted to do that day, and I was glad we could still do that. The following week, his family had finally put together a dinner where we could all go, because that was the dilemma, was that everyone was unable to make it every other time we had planned it. So they finally decided to do dinner all in this one night, and I was petrified that I was gonna be sick. And thankfully I was actually sick in the morning that day, and that's when it kind of all started transitioning. My sickness started coming earlier and earlier in the day. So I knew how to manage my nausea, which is why I say, like, I'd rather take my nausea over actually physically being sick any day, because I have nausea candies that I highly recommend. Sorry, it's the soda. I have nausea candies that I highly recommend, that I will link in the description box below, because the sour ones, I feel like I think the sour ones are called Prikey Pops. They honestly are just sour, and I feel like that's just the part that distracts you from the nausea. So I'm not a huge fan of those, but I do like how big they are, so they last longer in your mouth, like when you're sucking on them. The ginger ones though, I like those because I love ginger, hence ginger ale. Like, I love drinking these and having anything ginger, because it does soothe your stomach. But another thing that sucked is early on in my morning sickness phase, I did not want to drink this. I did not want anything that had or was giving me a gross back taste, and I'm just now getting over it. I used to have gum, and then eventually the taste of the gum would be sickening, just every little thing. So I had to brush my teeth all the time. I had to rinse out my mouth with water all the time, just anything to get rid of that taste. I was basically a homebody for a good month and a half, 2 months, because I want to say I'm just now getting better like this a week ago. I'm not even joking, a week ago. and my morning sickness is now hitting me like every few days, which I'm hopeful and praying to God that it stays that way and keeps dying off because I just hate it. Like this morning I was sick, yesterday morning I was sick. So, but this morning sucked because I didn't have anything in my system yet. I literally rolled out of bed, went to go pee, and then it hit me, and it was like stomach acid or whatever it was, TMI. But also, it's normal. Don't worry about it. If you're pregnant. If you're pregnant, you know, just learning these things as we go. Because there was a point in time where I was like, because I was getting sick every day, I spit up blood and I was a little scared. I'm telling you guys, the support system that I have makes me feel a lot better. And like I mentioned over on my stories yesterday or the other day, whenever it was, seeing like the posts that were coming up on my Instagram talking pretty much in detail about their journey and their pregnancy and morning sickness or appetite and all this stuff really made me feel better, and knowing that, okay, everyone's different, but the similarities are there and it's normal. That's it. When I went to go see my doctor, it's normal. No need to worry. So I'm very grateful for that. But otherwise, those are pretty much the early signs of pregnancy and how my journey has been thus far. I'm basically going on 5 months. I'm like 4.5 months at this point. So yeah, my second trimester. And once I hit 5 months, I'm practically halfway there. Technically 40 weeks is full term, but so is 38 and 39 and all that, so crazy. I know Randall's post is what gave our due date away, or a due month away. So we are due in May. Our doctor gave us 2 due dates, either May 5th or May 7th. Before I saw a doctor and I put in my last cycle in my app, because I downloaded the app right away, the app told me May 7th, so I knew it was going to be early May. But I just thought it was so funny that it'd be Cinco de Mayo. That would be honestly so cute. But I just love the thought of an early May baby, so keep your thoughts and prayers that we make it until May, because I don't want an April baby. There are too many cousins and just family in general in my life that are April babies, so I don't want another April birthday. If it could be May, let's make it May. Pretty much it. Let's see if there's any new DMs from the last time I checked. Okay, well, I think that's it for now. But we'll do these check-ins from time to time, so just let me know any other questions that you guys have. I'll update you guys on my symptoms and stuff like that. But yeah, just I'll be here until Randall gets home later with the pups, enjoying the rest of my afternoon / evening. It's 3:30 and I spent all morning, 1, being sick, and 2, working, shooting content. So now I'm just mellowing out, still shooting content, but for me, for my pleasure. I love shooting content when it's sponsored, but especially right now that I'm pregnant, it took a pretty big toll. And my management was also actually notified right away, because I didn't want it to affect my work, and I didn't want them to be like, why aren't you posting, what's going on, and like getting mad at me for slacking on Instagram, which is like, you guys know. And I kept saying that I'm sorry for being MIA, but the fact that you could see it in my face was a total giveaway, and I just looked drained. And so I'm glad that I told my team They're super excited and they were super understanding. Another reason why I'm highly grateful for them. And they gave me space and they well thought out my sponsored content and gave me time in between my content to always just be prepared and on top of it as much as I could, without having to tell these brands, you know? So yeah, just best team, best support system, best followers. Thank you all so much. I love you all so much. And I'm looking forward to more Vlogmas videos. Stay merry. Love you all. See ya tomorrow. Bye.